Welcome back. The Seahawks made a surprising first-round pick, taking running back Rashad Penny from San Diego State University. The team followed that choice up by selecting 8 more players, including Seahawks Shaquem Griffin's twin brother Shaquem. Here with a more in-depth look at the Seahawks picks. Believe it or not, he knows more than me. Please welcome back our good friend, sports writer Doug Farrar from Bleacher Report. It's good to see you. How are you?
Good. I'm going to ask you the questions.
Ask me the question.
Yeah,
What is it?
So Rashad Penny, lateral agility, second level movement, screen receiving. I mean,
good yards after catch. He's got size. He's got sufficient speed. I like the choice.
I'm going home because she's got this all.
That's what I think. All right, we'll talk about Rashad in a minute, but let's talk about the Griffins. Oh my God. Did everyone just cry? Oh, yeah. So this is, first of all, this is the drafting of the first person who's missing a hand to the NFL in history.
Yep.
And we have twins playing on the same team.
Yeah, which has happened a few times before, but not in a while.
So there we are seeing him in action. He's a linebacker.
Sort of. Well, in today's NFL, hybrid defenses, people are moving all over the place.
So what will he do? Will he pass rush?
He's actually a really good pass rusher at 227 pounds. In college, they would put him on the edge, and I wrote a tape piece for Bleacher Report today because, you know, great kid, great story, but this is an actual football
really good player.
And
if he wears those teeny tiny shoulder pads like Michael Bennett did, he'll be even faster.
Exactly.
I wore bigger shoulder pads in the 80s than Michael Bennett ended up.
Well, yeah.
Well, let's look at the tape, though, because he gets the call. Shaquem gets the call from Rick Schneider, and then he talks to Coach Carroll, and there's his twin brother. And oh my gosh, there wasn't a dry eye in their house.
I'm writing about a draft. I'm not supposed to be crying, and I'm crying.
This is the first thing. My son, who was following all of this, sent me the video and said, "I'm just sitting here crying." And I thought, okay. It was so amazing, and then the tape goes on to see Mom and the rest of the family, and everybody is just, we forget, because these are pro athletes, we forget that they're kids, for one thing. They're young people. They are people, and they are getting a break that is going to change their lives.
Well, he's an extraordinary human being.
Extraordinary indeed.
I first talked to him at the scouting combine in Indianapolis in February, and it was my 12th scouting combine. I've been doing this for 15 years, and he's talking about all the stuff he's overcome, and these people who tell him that he can't do this and he can't do that, and I'd seen his tape by then, so I knew that he could. But just the way he brings it across, and I'm like right in front of him with my recorder, and I'm turning my head like, because I'm starting to tear up.
Yeah, it's moving.
He just has a way, he has an effect on you. Beyond the story, beyond the quote-unquote handicap, which it's not a disability for him. He's just, you know, he had a condition that affected the growth of his fingers when he was in so much pain that when he was 4, the hand was amputated, and to him it's just nothing. He goes through it, and I'm telling you, this kid is a football player. It's a great story, but he's a football player. He can help them with pass rush. He can help them with what's called a spy, where you're watching the quarterback and the running back on the read option.
Right.
And he is, outside of Earl Thomas, the fastest player on the field for the Seahawks already. He was, just as far as pure open field speed, I don't think I saw anyone faster than him from point A to point B in this draft class. So again, great story, wonderful person, but he's a football player. He's an NFL level guy. So this wasn't a PR move. This wasn't oh gosh.
They would never have done that anyway. No. But it was so interesting because Coach Carroll said to him, "Now you got to bring it when you get here." And he said, "Coach, you got everything I got." And it was just, you know, he was so, oh my God, I'm going to cry again.
Well, it was interesting because he said, "Stay humble."
Yeah.
When he caught, like, you know, you're getting on NFL Network and ESPN, everyone's talking about you. Don't come up here with a big head, because now it's the NFL and we can knock your block off. So I think he knows. I think he gets it.
I think he'll be fine.
Plus, Shaquille, you know, will.
He's going to live with him. The brothers are going to live together, and he'll be able to clue him in. So let's talk about our first-round pick. First of all, how long has it been since we've had a first-round pick? I was convinced we would trade down again.
Exactly. Well, first round, Kurt Warner. In I think '83, and then Sean Alexander. The only other times they drafted a running back, and you know, people talk about the devaluation of the position. Rashad Penny led the nation in rushing, 23 touchdowns, and he played for San Diego State. And people go, "Oh, San Diego State." You heard of a guy named Marshall Falk?
Yeah,
I think he played for San Diego State.
Well.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So,
but this guy has size, he has speed, and seems like he's just the sort of running back we need.
Low to the ground, low man wins. He's kind of a glider. He doesn't like blow you away with fast motions and angles and stuff like that. He had I think he averaged about 3.5 yards after contact per carry.
Which means he can run through a tackle.
Good, which would be an improvement.
That would be a great thing for us.
Of course, we may actually now have people who are blocking.
Yes. Yes, because you can't run through non-holes.
Yeah, the whole Tom Cable, we want to draft offensive linemen who can't block thing, I think we've moved past that.
Yes. Yes, we have, and you and I have been waiting for that for 5 years.
We've discussed that before,
we
possibly,
have brought that
possibly
up a time
with
or
profanity.
two. Not me.
Oh, no, never you.
Unless we weren't on TV, and then it might have happened.
Never you.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we still have the video of Rashad Penny is like weeping.
Oh, yeah.
When he's chosen.
Yep.
Just a reminder again, we're talking about
They're
human beings here.
Dreams they've had since they were 5 years old, and they're 20, 21, 22, and here it is.
And, you know, for many of them, well, for everybody, super life-changing, for some people more than others. Okay, so there were a bunch of other folks who were drafted, and we don't want to leave them out. I want to have you address, if you would, Will Dissly, who I've loved watching as a player for the UW, and who stands out for the rest of these folks?
Good receiver, former defensive end, but really he's a blocker. He's
tight end blocker.
Yeah, like Zach Miller.
Yeah.
Seahawks a couple years ago.
Who we all really
enjoyed. In the Tom Cable era, when they weren't drafting offensive linemen who were really good and they couldn't block. He's that kind of guy.
That's
Brian
good.
Schottenheimer, the new offensive coordinator, he will start with the run, move his way out. I'll tell you a guy that Trey Flowers, the safety from Oklahoma State. I believe he was a 5th rounder.
I don't have it on my notes. Cornerback?
He was a safety in college. They're moving him to corner, 6'3", very rangy.
Well, they like those tall corners.
Exactly. He kind of projects as a Richard Sherman type. And, you know, Sherman came in, no one knew who he was, and Pete Carroll has a very specific system for cornerbacks. You know, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Shaquem Griffin, one of the things he's not great at is kind of flipping his hips, as they say, turning and running with receivers. And I would watch it on tape and I'd think, well, I've talked to Carroll about how he trains pass defenders. They're going to get him up to speed with that. And yeah, Flowers is a guy I think he's worth watching because he played safety, has cornerback speed and agility. He didn't always have a plan in college. He would just run around and bump into people sometimes.
Now he'll have a plan.
He will have a very definite plan.
A plan will be imposed. Vita Vea, who's my buddy from here, one of my favorite pictures of all time was taken with Vita Vea.
And one heck of a player.
I look like a little person. Yeah, somebody who, I don't know what he weighs, 340, something like that, and can get to the quarterback at the same time the linebacker gets there. That's a lot of person coming at you. Really nice kid, drafted 12th overall.
Great pick.
Tampa Bay, will they be a little better this year for him?
They did a lot on defense, which they needed to.
Okay.
Because their defense is fairly horrible. But Vita Vea, I mean, he can play everywhere from nose tackle right over the center to end.
Yeah.
You
we wish him just the very best.
Bring him off the edge or bring him inside. Tremendous short area quickness, penetrating through blocks.
It was fun watching him in the 40 with his hair.
It was funny because they had Danny Shelton, who was kind of that same type of player. And then they get Vea, who's even a better version of Danny Shelton.
He's amazing.
It's more Chris Peterson.
He's going to do really well.
Doing what he does.
Love Coach Chris. Dante Pettis went in the 2nd round. That's good. But let's talk about this book that you are working on now. And you've been working on this for a while. We have a title, or at least I know the title now, called
you can put it up.
The Genius of Desperation, the schematic innovations that made the modern NFL. And it's about, you know, how the schemes were prepared and developed and innovated over time so that we get the game that we have today. And this has involved just unbelievable research.
It took me 3 years to write.
Wow.
It took me 3 years to write and 2 years before that to get up the gumption to actually think I could write it, because it's a schematic history of pro football from 1920 to the present.
It's not uncomplicated.
What on earth makes me think that I could do this? But yeah, and it's everything from the T formation to the run pass option, and it's, you know, how when you're outmanned as a coach or a GM, you sort of have to outthink, you know, and every scheme from the T formation to the 3-digit offense to the West Coast offense to the 4-3 defense. That's why the title is Genius of Desperation, because it all comes from, we don't have the guys to beat these other guys. We've got to outthink them.
How do we outmaneuver them?
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun book for football fans.
September 25th through Triumph Books.
Please come back.
I will absolutely.
Talk to us about the book. I want my signed copy, and you can have a cocktail on that day.
I was going to say,
I know.
bring the liquor.
I fell down on the job today. I can't believe it.
You get your Texas native license rescinded for that?
I may lose my card.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up, what we can all learn about the power of resiliency from animals and humans who've overcome trauma. We'll talk about that after this.